Hello. Hello, sexy souls. How are you all doing? Awesome. Very good. Love to hear it. We're going to sit down and do a message. I really don't know where this is going to go. I felt called, and then I was like, I fought against it. I was like, nah. My logical side was just like, I've got this, this, and this, and my neurospiciness is like, I only have 2 hours left. And I don't want, like, it feels like it's not enough time, and I'll be rushed if I try to do dude, not even close, right? So then I spend a little bit of time fiddle farting around. That's what we call it down here. And then I'm like, okay, no, I feel settled. I feel okay. I feel secure in getting something started. So that is what we are doing. So just to let you're aware. I don't know. I feel like certain things I'm gonna head in a direction of just doing more timing. Obviously, my coffee and tarot readings are going to be just tapping into a collective and just it's a whatever type of thing, right? But I feel like I have the right here, right now, the next 3 days, next 30 days, like things like that. Like right here, right now is like in this very moment, in this present moment, there's something that needs to get kind of thing. I really do like that type of information because I like doing those. And I know that sometimes there's a lot of readers out there that do the very broad future cast, like they tell you something that could happen like 3 years from now or that could last taking 3 years, right? But given that we really need to focus on the here and now, because sometimes we focus too much on the future and it takes us out of the moment, and that in and of itself can tamper with and impact the timeline. So, and again, I'm giving spirit free reign. Like I'm like, coffee and tarot, like that can do it. But I do feel more called to doing some more timely, present, like near future type of readings. Just walking people through things. So you'll see that come up. And then of course I've been toying around with some other ones, but I want to feel really good about the readings that I'm doing. And so as I step back into doing them, it might be a little wobbly at first. And I did warn you all when I stepped away, it might be a little bit of wonkiness, which is perfectly fine, as is life right now, obviously. And we're all just walking each other home, so I'm sure that everybody can understand my wonkiness. So there we go. I'm quite certain those that make their way my direction are going to be patient and like, girl, same. So, alrighty. This is not necessarily a coffee and tarot. I did happen to pull a coffee, and just between us, I usually only do 1 cup, right? But here lately, well, I did get to like 2 cups for all, but here lately, the coffee ain't been coffeeing. Now, on a real note, I do half caffeine, like that I don't do a full throttle. And so I feel like having 2 cups is okay because, I really don't go towards caffeine the rest of the day. But I have been going for more, if I'm being real. And I'm like, why does it feel like the caffeine's not caffeine? I make up words around here, okay? Just FYI, you're gonna have to keep up. It just hasn't. So, on an honest note, this would be my 3rd one. And people who know when I'm really pumped with caffeine, my ADHD goes into like hyper turbo mode. So, it is not impacting me the way I normally would. And I have this feeling like I'm ramping up to like do a reset with my diet. Like I know that sounds so weird. Like I almost like, how you okay, neurospicy folk, you have like a hyperfixation and then it dies out. I feel like that's what Spirit's doing. They're like, you love coffee, you love coffee, you love coffee. Till I'm like, ugh, I don't want any coffee. Because otherwise, like, I'll always do at least 1 cup. But I think that they were like, oh, you want more? Have more. You know what I mean? And it's like, until I'm like, ew, I want something else. They're trying to get me, I think, to a place. Spirit, my spiritual team, and my higher self trying to get me to a place where I really want and crave something else. And I do crave other things, but like, I feel like it gets in the way. So watch me as this unfurls, and definitely call me out in the comments, like in a month or two when you're like, I noticed you're not drinking as much coffee. I'll be like, yeah. But right now, 3rd cup, okay? Yay. I also am going to start packing my coffee. I don't know why they have me saying this part, but that maybe somebody else has been thinking this, and this is just going to be your thing. I'm really going to start packing it with more protein. Like really set it up for the day. So anyways, all right, let's dig into this now that we're done with all the announcements and whatnot. This is New Era Elements. We're going to start with that. We're just going to take as long as it takes. They have me eyeballing the Divine Doors. And I'm all like, should I? I'm trying to figure out if I'm supposed to do that first or second. And it feels like I'm going to do it after this, and then it's going to make perfect sense. Like, oh, I should have pulled this first. That would have, like, you know. And I'm like, should I just do it first then? I heard no. Okay. And I might have been one of you all. I don't know. It didn't feel necessarily like, you know. So we'll just go. Here we go. Okay. Wheel of Fortune. Dang. Ooh. I kind of like these. I do. Okay. Wheel of Fortune. Ace of Wands. Oh, this is like oh gosh, how do I want to say this? Like the idea of somebody getting a fire under that, like a new start that has like a lot of like gusto, right? I heard pep in your step, right? Like the idea of, so they're giving me the picture of somebody like lethargically moving through stuff because they got to, and it's like how quickly something can get done when you are into it. You know what I mean? It reminds me of my son. Like, he does, he's learning a second language. He's learning Japanese. And then he's also learning, he went into computer sciences. And can I just tell you, it was like and this is an exceptionally smart, like things tend to come easy. Annoyingly so, because that was not me. That was my sister. But, you know, in school, like really, really bright. It just kind of comes easy. Again, annoyingly so. He's also neurospicy, so you know how that goes. He could not. It was like banging his head against a brick wall when it came to coding. Oh, it was torture. And it can always depend on the teacher who's teaching him. Like that, again, neurospicy people. He has ADHD. And when I say, like, people always want to be like, are you sure? And then they get around her and they're like, oh, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So, anywho, he could not. Like, this is a kid, straight A kid, that, like, he can do it all. Like, he tests out of the state testing and stuff like that. Now, someone that we're garnering knowledge, like book knowledge, because there's different types of, like academic, there we go, academic type of knowledge. There's different types of knowledge, right? And there's different areas where he's more proficient. He's great at reading. Like, he could be even better. He could test even better, but he doesn't like it. But he still tests ahead of like the shit just comes easy. And you're like, oh, I don't want to smack him because I'm really proud of him. But you know what I'm saying? We know some of them people, right? So here he is trying to do computer sciences, and he's in this coding class, and he about wants to die. Now, imagine an ADHD student trying to sit there and stare at the exact same screen to figure out where in all of the zeros and ones something's gone wrong for the code. Absolutely not. Oh my God. Oh my God. However, there's a million of us that would feel the same way about learning a language. Now, I say that as someone who is in the United States, where they didn't necessarily push that in the 80s, you know, like learning a second language unless you had to. Like unless you were already, like your family was already one that oh, my bracelet is a magnet. Anyways, so like then it was like pushed to, you know, for learning English and everything. If you started young, lucky you, I'm just gonna say. Because when I tried to learn Spanish, again, could be the teacher or the way our school system were doing, but it was like pulling teeth. This child within like 6 months was writing and speaking, and I'm just like, what? He ended up getting into high school because he started it early in middle school, got into high school, and he, like, it was one of those things where, like, class was a breeze because he already knew it all. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, how? How? So anyways, I'm a little more anal retentive. I can do the coding a little bit better. I'm more patient with it than he is. I've got a Virgo stellium, so there you go. And that's what it feels like. The ease at which and how fast something can happen because he's into it is the basic gist of that. That is what they're kind of like giving me with the Ace of Fire. It's like a fire under, like something, I don't want to always say passion, but something garners your interest. There's a desire there. There's a spark of interest. There we go. Something that really revs things up for you. Okay. That was a long, I know. Okay. I know. I get it. That's what we do here. When you have a chart where your Mercury is aspected 10 times, and you have Mercury involved in 5 different places. Like when I tell you, I'm sorry, okay? It is what it is. All right? Things are going to change, and I feel like somebody's going to feel real interested and enthusiastic about the change that's happening. And it's funny because sometimes we associate with stability, the Four of Pentacles, like feeling secure, with the boring shit, right? But this is somebody like all ablaze, okay? Whatever this change is. And then we have the Queen of Swords and the 9 of Wands. Okay. This is about power. Something puts you squarely right back in your power. Hold on. I am interested right now. Like really interested in the Queen of Swords. I know that people always like, you shouldn't always want to feel in control. And I think that we need to find a new way of talking about controlling a situation. Because really when people are saying you're trying to control shit too much, you're stagnating it by being stubborn. And I just heard obtuse. I'm so sorry. Somebody's spirit's team said you're obtuse. Obtuse. Being so like obstinate is what I want to feel. Like you just like that. There's a difference between, because there's also the level of control where it's like you wield things, right? Like it's funny because wind seems to be at first glance, like when you really think about it, you're like, no one can control the wind, but you can wield it. You can wield it and direct the wind, right? The patterns at which, like when you put like things that obstruct a wind's path, wings, right? Like the wind will just go, like wings of an airplane, the sails of a boat, like you can wield it. You may not be controlling it, but then again, you can change its direction. Anyways, so obtuse. I'm about to Google this. Obtuse. Oh my God. Annoyingly insensitive or slow to understand. Another, when I tell you, oh my God, guys, okay. Similar or synonyms would be stupid, slow-witted, unintelligent. Oh, that was their nice way of dim, thick-headed. Thick-headed, there we go. We'll go with thick-headed. Someone's being very thick-headed. I don't know. I don't know what you were, I don't know. Like maybe you were perceiving something to be, oh, what were you thick-headed? I'm so sorry, y'all. You were thick-headed about something. And Spirit's not like, I don't give a shit if you control something. In fact, I ask you to stand in your power and do certain things and to wield your story, your life, to create it, right? That's what that's all about, creation. But it's like there was something that you were obtuse and thick-headed about. That's so funny. I'm gonna put this over here because I feel like I get more light. Anyways, so you're actually, look at how she's smiling. I cannot get over the fact, and the way that her hands are positioned, she's a little bit like, she's back in control. Whatever you wanna, if you don't like that term, use whatever term you want, but you're back in your seat of power. You're back having influence and directing your own life, or directing things. So let's find out what this is a little bit about. Okay, so the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, they said to keep going with this one. Okay. Well, obviously it's an adjustment. So is this something where there's finally going to be progress on something? Is this going to be progression in work? Or just... Okay, something has balanced out for you. I guess it's that obtuseness. And now something can happen within... So Spirit wants to say, when you thought you were trying to take control, like, no, I get to determine certain things. They're like, you weren't really controlling anything because you were just being obtuse. You were just being obstinate. You were stagnating is what you were doing. Control, they don't, I get this feeling like they don't care about you wanting to take control. They want you to take control. Take charge, right? But what you were doing was just like, more or less like standing in the way. And this is something that this is like a, now this adjustment has occurred, this balancing out, whatever this clearing I feel like saying, maybe it's your attitude, I'm so sorry. Things can progress, definitely progress. And I want to say, I feel as if it's like, whatever work that effort you've put into something before or up to this point or in regards to something, you're no longer standing in the way of it. And you understand now, you know what, whether you understand it doesn't matter. You're not in a place of standing in your own way. There is progression. Because we have the Four of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles. So for me, this is kind of like, now that you're in a stable situation or stable state, whatever it is, you can now move forward. There is progression, and it has something to do with feeling secure. and building something. It's like you can now move forward on something that you love, is basically what I want to say. Tell me a little bit more about the Son of Water. Give me one card, please. I love it when they're like, I'll give you what I want. Ooh, something that you really, motherfucker. Once in a while, we get a little colorful with our language here. Okay, so you can now move forward with something that you love. I'm like, Son of Water, something that you love. And we got 9 of Cups and the Sun. It's the feeling of there's going to be progress on something that you genuinely, sincerely that your heart desires, or that your heart leads you towards. Okay? Okay, so let's pull out some, okay. Since we're going to go there, we're going to use Golden Universal. See, this is really protecting some type of a creation. The Hierophant, in my opinion, as I've always said, is about creating something external to you that reflects who you truly are, right? You structure your life in such a way. You bring something, you develop and create something, bring it into fruition that reflects who you truly are internally, because it's the masculine energy to the High Priestess, right? There's another one. Whoop. So something can now happen. The wheel has finally turned for you. Ooh. It's definitely something that ignites. We got the Ace of Wands again, guys. So this is a little bit like, this is something that ignites something within you. It sets a fire within you. It's a spark of joy, a spark of enthusiasm, a spark of like something that you feel. It puts a pep in your. I want to do it. Yes, right. Star card being like, I feel as if they're saying, you're following your heart's desire, which you feel really drawn to do and led to do. It's almost like this was a wish, 9 of Cups, but also like being led to do it as well, like being guided. This isn't following the North Star home. Something has occurred. Something has changed with the Wheel of Fortune that brought about some level of an adjustment so that you can continue to progress on something that you really, truly want. You really, truly desire. That is actually a yes for you. It's something that's a yes for you. And that you've felt guided to do. You know, I mean, it's not like just, you know, when you feel just, I just feel it. You can't explain, I just feel it. Why are we bringing this up right now? Well, the reason it's being brought up, we've got the 6 of Pentacles, which I feel like there's a level of reciprocity, help, assistance, resources. Maybe there's an area of concern that you want to address, and something is going to come in to help with an area of concern that you have. It's going to give you a bit more, it's going to give you the freedom. Whatever's been cumbersome, like there's a reason that you've been obtuse, we'll say. And obviously there's a level of anxiety. Oh, look. I just laid this down like this over here off camera. Like I set it down, and on the bottom is the 10 of Swords. And I want to say, whatever this was, probably was a bit more painful than it needed to be, because these swords are hitting him in the front, guys. All right. And it's almost like something that you've walked straight the fuck into. Okay. It's almost as if it's like, this isn't, oh, I got stabbed in the back. It's almost like you I just heard, here's what I say. Like something was stabbing you in the back and you turned around. I don't know why they're giving me this image. You turned around, saw it, and it's almost like you were like, I heard, finish the job. Like you got so angry with something that they're showing me a person literally, like the swords are coming for them, and they just, like they're walking, they stop, turn around, see the swords, and now this is proverbial, this is not literal. Just for to be sake, right? We're not encouraging this. This is metaphorical, okay? They plunged forward. Like, instead of just like facing something head on, it's almost as if it's like catching wind of something that was occurring just before the worst of something. Or hurrying the process along. Like, you know, when something feels, the idea of it going in the back is kind of like, worst case scenario is what the Ten of Swords is. And then what you experience as a result of that. The worst of the worst. And how that feels. And I finished the job. Like, it's like seeing a crash happen before it happens. Like seeing it as it's about to happen. And just accepting something about it. Maybe that's where the turn happened. Is accepting the fate of a situation or a circumstance. Or how something unfolded. And I get the feeling of, because he's laying on this bed, this golden bed, this bed of stone, right? Like this altar almost. And it's almost like, I get this self-sacrificial. So even if circumstances were not to your liking or in your favor, you may have done something to kind of like tip something over the edge, going down in a blaze of glory is what they said. So it feels kind of like seeing something that was coming and then just helping it along. I don't know how that happened. Okay, so let's get back to this. So there was something very troubling. It was excruciating. It's almost like because of you helping it along, and you just, like, you knew there was no going up until you hit, you know what I'm saying? Something to that effect, like, or you just had to come to terms with it and just wait for the rise, is what I want to say. Because whatever it was torturous, where it felt that way to you. Like maybe you were fighting against something that was happening, and then when you just finally realized, like you may have, like in the moment you may have been like, why me, why me, why me, why me, why me? Again, that would be swords going in the back, and you just turned around and you looked it straight on, and you just whoosh, that's the way that it's coming across. And you plunged right into it. You were like, finish the job then. Instead of elongating this process. So you may have mentally hit rock bottom on something, and that forced the wheel to whoosh, like almost like worst case scenario happened. So now guess what? There is no more worst case scenario. You know? And that can differ from people, right? Like sometimes it's like a matter of, I don't want so-and-so to know that I'm struggling, and they found out that you were struggling. You know what I mean? Worst case scenario. And you're like, the thing that your ego or anything else felt was like, it can't happen. Why? You know, like, whatever it was. And something is coming in to help and reset or rebalance that. Because he's giving, right? There's always a time of not receiving and a time of receiving. And I always feel like Six of Pentacles is the resources. I say resources because to me that's all encompassing. That's a great word to use when it's like whatever it is that you're needing in order to balance things out, in order to address this issue, it's able to come in. And as a result, you feel, because whatever this was, you felt like you were succumbing to it. You know what I mean? Like it was, again, prior to, if you're not in, these are in the front at first, the way they were giving it to me was like, it was hitting you in the back. That's the state of the victim, right? That's the state of circumstances being beyond your control, not having any leverage of it. You turned around and you're like, finish it. Finish this baby. And so it's one of those things where whatever you did, and this could be completely and mentally and emotionally, it doesn't have to be with, you know, and this is a mental thing. You were like, let's go there. Let's go there. So it took you out of victim mode. I'm going to tell you that much, and put you in a good place to be confident, independent. Like it's the old adage, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I fear no evil, because I've been there, bitch, and I've come back out. Like I've seen it, I've witnessed it, I've experienced it. I died from it, and I rose again. Like, you know what I mean? So at this point, it just feels like fearlessness. And so there's a level of independence. Like the fear of, this fear can't control you anymore. It lacks any influence over you anymore. Because it's already happened. Okay, so now they're saying the divine doors. And then I know that there's something else for clarity purposes that they want me to. They said not yet. Hold on. I'm getting me my coffee. I was all like, it's gonna be quick, it's gonna be quick. I will get to the quick ones. I feel like I'm going to practice a little bit. Like, I know that sounds so, oh, okay, I'll tell y'all later. Oh no. A ritual cleansing of pain and lies. Arise and awaken. See a new sunrise. Phoenix. I feel as if it's like, whatever circumstances you were facing, you felt, and here's the thing, it could very well be true. Like a victim of circumstance, a victim of things perpetrating and orchestrating, like even spirit, like you fucking did this. You know, it's what I'm gonna say. And it's like the place that it takes you when you, whether it's a person, or, you know, like happening, something's causing this, something's creating this, and then you realize that you're right, and then you stare at it. It's kind of like, let's just say that there's like an energetic something that's been attacking you, right? This is not for everybody. These are for the more woo-woo ones, okay? Everybody gets their example. But it's almost as if it's like, instead of like trying to do all the things to get rid of it, to protect, to hide from it, you walk right into the fucking room and you're like, come here right now. Look me in my fucking face. Show yourself. And you did. It did. And you endured whatever it was to get out of that. And you may have, it's going to be all too easy, whatever that painful situation or circumstance that was prolonged was, but it's I want to say the forgive is for you. In any situation where you may have made the situation worse, amplified it. In fact, you may be at this place where you're like, had I just turned around and finished the job, had I just turned around and done the thing, and just let it happen, whatever that worst case scenario is, instead of fearing it, you elongated it. You elongated it and drew it out, right? It's about forgiving yourself for being fearful, I want to say, for trying all the other avenues. Like sometimes transmuting spells and sometimes alchemy and sometimes all these other things aren't what's called for. They're giving me this scenario. It's like and I feel like there's been a movie where somebody's done this before, but you know how witches were burned at the stake, blah, 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 so-called. That's not always the case of what actually happened. You know what I mean? Anyways, but it's almost like realizing what's happening and then lighting the match yourself. It's that energy. And again, they will not give me specifics because there's a myriad of, but it's almost like I should have lit that match sooner. I should have faced that demon sooner. Inner mind, whatever. And now they're like, it's time to go ahead and let go of that. To not carry that chip with you. And that may have been what's been happening. A cleansing. Maybe turning and facing it was cleansing you of that fear. And you know, it's beyond the acknowledgement of something, right? Because I feel like we're always like, face your fears. And it's like, oh, if I acknowledge it, no, it's almost like letting it consume you and take you to the dark crevices of places. Or a situation. Again, like letting it happen and feeling the pain of it happening. And now there's something about being able to come back out of it. Right? Like, they give me a lot of Christian-based story analogies. I am not a Christian. I will say that. I used to be. I grew up Christian. My father was minister. Anyways, these are just like parables. These are like stories that they're giving me. So please forgive if that's not your. But the stories you can still see yourself in. It was kind of like they're showing me the inferno, you know, and coming out alive. It's like standing in, imagine a box and it's lit on, like not a box, but like, you know, these are dark. This was a dark place. This had to be a very dark place because they're really giving me some explicit examples, like ways to describe this. And so like, but the exit, the only way out is right across there, and I've got to walk across through the fire to get to it. And you may have been clawing at the walls, shaking them, beating them, hovering in the corner, doing everything you could to try and not get burned. And all that did was prolong it. And so it's almost like you're past this now. And they're asking you not to hold on to it. And I think that that's the reason why. I think something about walking through the fire. But see, this reminds me of the violet flame where it cleanses everything off of you, though. It's almost like having to call that demon front and center and looking at it and like dealing with it right then and there. Or it cleansed you. That cleansed you. And now it can be released, whatever it is, and you can move on. The art of life. There's no sacred light in the aura of an invisible life. Be bold in your skin. Let your love dance in sight. I get the notion. It feels like to me, I do a lot of energy, guys. What it feels like is now I can live. Whatever you had to face, whatever you were like, fine, let's finish this. Whatever felt like it was taking forever to get through and deal with and address, and maybe the only way to get you to deal with or address something was to put you in a worst case scenario. Because you're like, I don't want to deal with that shit. And maybe you had dealt with something on like, you've done little bits and pieces of things, but you hadn't really like, you know, and it was like, what good would that, like, you know, something, I'm getting like the violet flame, it cleansed you of it. And I cannot help but to say that whatever this was, because obviously it wreaked havoc with your mental realm, your thoughts, and it consumed you a bit, or a lot, they said. Your life reflected it. So this isn't, I don't feel like this is just strictly internal. Your external life reflected this heavily. Which almost gave you no choice but to. I get the urge of like fighting something. And by doing so, you're clear from it now. And that is going to allow you to actually live life, because otherwise you would be carrying something with you. The fear surrounding worst case scenario had to happen so that you could live life, so you wouldn't keep fearing it. Because otherwise, if you had moved forward, you wouldn't have been living life. That fear would be dictating how you experienced life. The distance calls your heart to roam free. As you dare dream it, so must it be. There's a distant dream, a distant kiss. Distant. Something felt very... A wish of all wishes that you were here through sunlight and rain. I need you near. There's, yeah, the calling. Remember I said there was something calling you. And you felt there's going to be progress on this. There's going to be progress. You're free from whatever is holding you back. And in an attempt to control something, which was really just you being obtuse, because Spirit's all like, I'm okay with control. That's like taking the reins and like creating shit and doing, you know what I mean? Like this was more like whatever it was stagnant. You really can follow your heart now. The distance, like your future is like your life is calling you, right? And you feel it, and you can now move forward with it. And that you're more free to go after what you dream for, what you would feel called to. And that's the reason why it's like your wish is going to happen. I want to say is granted. The Sun, it's a yes. You get what you've wanted, what you've desired. And when they say, I wish of all wishes that you were here, that's your future. That's your destiny. That's your life. Your life has missed you. Life itself has missed you. Well, that is that. I hope this message finds who it's meant for, and I hope you have a fantastic, wonderful day.